Hey guys and welcome back. My name is Sandra and today I'm going to be filming a mid-month wrap-up. Simply because I have two books that I want to talk about and then one book that I am currently reading. So the first book I'm going to speak about is Leftovers. So I mentioned in a video back in December that I wanted to do a bit of rereading of books that I've loved. In December I read Pear Shapes by Stella Newman, and then I started to read Leftovers by her and then finished it at like the beginning of January. Again, completely loved it. I can't remember for the life of me if I changed the rating for Leftovers or Pear Shapes, but I know for one of them I did change my rating. I think I only knocked off 1 star though, and it's not because I didn't enjoy it. I think it's just because as I've grown I kind of was a bit distant from one of the characters. So I think it maybe was this book, I'm just not 100% sure. So Leftovers, I feel like if you're going to read these two books by Stella Newman, you're probably best off reading it one after the other. Simply because I feel like if you read one and then went on to read another book for like 3 months or something and then came back to read Leftovers, you might think you're reading the same story. Simply because the character in this story, who's called Susie, works for the advertising agency for Fletcher's, and Fletcher's is the supermarket in Pear Shaped that the character there, Sophie, works for. Yeah, so you at first glance you might think, am I reading the same story? You're not. It's a completely different story, but they do, like, there's that little bit of a crossover, and they both, I think, are in marketing anyway, so it's quite a creative role. So Leftovers is basically a story of Susie. Yeah, Susie. She is 34. The beginning of the book, she takes this quiz that basically tells her she's a leftover because she's over 30 and she's single. And then the story sort of rolls on from there. So Susie works at this advertising agency, basically really hates her job. She's been passed over for a promotion that she feels she deserves. She sort of just wants to start afresh with a new life, but you know, she wants to get this promotion and then carry on doing her own thing. She has one really good friend at her workplace, which is fab, which is great. And obviously it's a Stella Newman story, so it entails fabulous dates. I say fabulous dates, just disastrous dates really, but they're absolutely hilarious. But the main thing, again, like it has in Pear Shaped, is the element of food, and in particular in this one, Susie is someone who is passionate about pasta. Seriously, the way to my heart. So you get like these little recipes throughout the book for pasta. She basically designs it so there's like pasta for every single occasion, and it's really good because it's also good to see what she does with like bits of food that's just left over in her kitchen and how she throws that into a pasta dish. So I really obviously enjoyed that element of it. I think where this book is different from Pear Shaped, well obviously they're different books, but where it is different from Pear Shaped is there isn't really a huge focus on a single partner or it doesn't end with her finding someone, which I like. There is a lot of talk about her ex-boyfriend and her sort of getting over her ex-boyfriend, but that in this book there is no one single like romantic interest. It's more she's going on different dates, so you're able to sort of, I don't know, I feel like the book is probably a little bit more relatable than the other one. But it's just, yeah, disastrous dating, loads of drinking with friends, all that sort of good stuff. I mentioned something like this in my other video, that if you like books with strong female leads, then I don't think, again, you'll like this book. I feel there are a lot of decisions she makes that are just coming from a place of weakness, a place of like lack of self-confidence. So yeah, but the book is funny. I think that's what I like about it, and at the end of the book Susie does find her strength. I think that's what I like about it. She finds strength to do the things that she wanted to do. There's a really hilarious scene in her workplace which is a bit over the top, but it's really funny and you're just sort of really rooting for her. You know, there's a sort of hinted romantic interest towards the end, but it's not gone into detail, and you're sort of left as the reader to think, okay, like maybe Susie is going to pursue this, maybe she's not. You don't know, but I think that's quite nice about it as well. But I like the fact that there was no sort of, okay, she's got a boyfriend now and this is how life is with her boyfriend. For this story, it very much went along the path of her figuring out her career and her figuring out her passion, and yeah, I really like that sort of development. So yeah, that was The Leftovers. I know Stella Newman has a new book coming out, which is actually under her real name. I didn't actually know that wasn't her real name, so I'm very excited to read that. It doesn't come out until May though, so... But I will be picking it up because I have read all her other books, so why not throw that into the mixture. The next book I'm going to speak about is this small little one here. I mentioned this in a book called last year, and it's Happier Thinking by Lana Riva. I'm not sure you can actually see that cover, so I might bring it a little bit closer to the screen. I think that's a little bit better. This book is just really good. I really liked it. I think it's a good sort of conclusion of what cognitive behavioural therapy is. So Lana herself isn't like a trained sort of medical professional or anything like that. These are just like sort of the things that have helped her, and she's put it together in a book. And it's basically talking about like how you can change how you think and looking at situations that happen throughout your life, and not sort of turning one bad thing in a day into this is the worst day ever and my life is never going to get better. I know that sounds really dramatic, but I feel like if you have anxious thoughts or anything like that, you'll understand that is sort of how your life goes. One bad thing happens and you're just sort of like, my life is over, like my life is ruined. So I think her book is just a really great reminder of the things that you learn in therapy. So I just like that she put it together in this sort of like bite-sized version. I think there's only like 42 pages or something in here. I think 52 actually pages in here. And they're just done in these really bite-sized chapters, easy to understand, so easy to digest. I really enjoyed reading this, and for me I feel like because I'm too lazy to like continuously go through my CBT material, I feel like this book is a good reminder that I can just read this and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I learned. Because a lot of when I was reading this, I was like, I recognise these techniques and the sort of the way of thinking from what I've learned before. So yeah, I thought it was a really good book, and I'm really happy that Lana reached out and sent this to me because I absolutely love it, and I think it's going to be one that I sort of go back to throughout the years, because I guess with therapy, like, it's not a sort of fix for everything. You need to sort of keep on practicing these habits, so you need to keep on practicing positive thinking and just sort of changing your mindset all the time. So good stuff. So those are the two books that I've read this month, and I'm currently reading this book. So I mentioned this book in my 2019 reading goals, and I have started reading it now. So I am about more than halfway through this book now, and I'm enjoying it, but I'm also sort of not enjoying it. So I'm curious to see when I finish the book how I'm going to feel about it. This book is an exploration of Mara Altman's sort of, I guess, exploration of her body, and obviously the female body. So it's split into two parts, which is the top half and the bottom half. So I have finished the whole section that is to do with the top half, and I have just moved, I think I've just finished the first chapter in the bottom half. This book is really funny in some parts, but overall the sort of, I guess, reaction I'm having to it is that it's incredibly self-indulgent. And I know, like, memoirs, obviously they're about people, so they're indulgent, and like that's great and all of that stuff, but this is obviously, these are sort of essays on different parts of the body. So whilst it's not a full-on memoir, she is recounting, I don't know, bits of her life to do with this particular situation. So for instance, in the first chapter there's a chapter on being hairy, a chapter on like breasts, there's a chapter on sweating, there's many like other things that basically, there's a chapter on head lice, basically her experiences with all these kinds of things. And the reason why I say it's self-indulgent is because some of the things that she talks about are fine, they're like problems that women have, and I'm really glad to read a book where someone has some of the same issues as me, and I'm like, okay, good. Not good, but finally it's not just me. But it's the way she goes about it that I sometimes think is quite self-indulgent. But what happens in this book, and is what seems to happen in every single chapter, is she finds that there's an issue and therefore goes out to contact all these professors of something. And I'm just like, is there really a need for that? It just feels incredibly self-indulgent. I just don't really understand. And the thing is, obviously in this book it's written in a very linear fashion. So in the book it's written, I, you know, contacted this professor and they said this, and then I wasn't happy with that result, so I contacted this professor and they said this. But in real life I actually imagined that she was contacting quite a lot of professors and not getting the results she wanted. I think the issue that I also have with this book is A lot of it is, okay, this is the issue that I face, and then, like I said, there's a contact of professors. And it seems to be what she's trying to do is say, if there is a scientific reason for this, then it's okay. And I just don't really understand that, because I guess that what she's looking for, she's talking about like her relationship with hair. So then she goes down this route of speaking to professors about why women like remove their body hair, and you know, is it through advertising and all these sorts of things. And I just feel like there doesn't have to be this huge thing about it. Yes, a lot of women probably remove their hair because we've been sort of socialised and we've grown up with loads of marketing telling us to like remove our body hair. But then there is also a whole bunch of women who don't, and I just feel like it's, for me personally, I don't think it's that much of a big issue to explore it so widely. I was just a bit bamboozled. And then yeah, there's this chapter on sweat where she's basically trying to find an acceptance of sweat, and you know, not just normal sweating, like excessive sweating. And again, it goes down this route of contacting all these scientists and seeing what they think. The annoying thing about that chapter is it concludes with her basically saying, I've done all this research and contacted all these people for them to say that excessive sweating is like perfectly normal, but actually no, I think it's gross, and I'm, you know, not gonna go around bearing my sweat patches. So I was just like, so what was the point in that whole chapter? And also that chapter was excessively long. Like, I feel like an editor reading that chapter should have been able to strip down some of it, because a lot of it was repetitive. So overall, I'm just not sure what I think about the book. There are bits in it that is making me laugh, so I think that's what saves this book, that it's actually very funny, and her worries are just like, oh lol, like this is really jokes, and it's not that serious, and then it's okay. But then at the same time, I'm like, does it warrant a whole book? Or does it warrant so many pages in a book? I think overall this book probably could be a lot shorter. But I haven't finished it yet, so we'll see how I feel at the end. So that is where I'm at. Today is the 16th of January, so it's, yeah, around about half of the month, basically. I'm not too sure about how many books I'm going to complete for the rest of the month, but I didn't want to have a huge long wrap-up video at the end, so I figured I would just do this video. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button down below and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.